Metabolic syndrome. The world has there's a global epidemic, and there's at least, the stats are like 25%, but I would say, in my experience, way more than 25% of the world's population have what's called metabolic syndrome. Now I'm going to show you a little snippet from Dr. Robert Lustig's presentation, which I shared with. I'm very much learning from thought leaders across the world, and the very best thought leaders. I'm not just picking up a book and regurgitating that to you. I get it, I see it, I apply the methodology and the learnings and the teachings into my own practice, if you like, and I see the results, and the results are massive, and it's far more impactful than it is going to the doctor and saying, "Doctor, there's something wrong with me, okay, here's the medication." Nothing's really fixed. But in my experience, I can actually fix you. And you know that, because we've proved that so many times. And there are hundreds, literally hundreds and hundreds of women who have completely reversed health-related problems, including metabolic syndrome, on a massive scale, on Feel It Be, as a result of what I do. It's powerful. I'm claiming it, I'm owning it, and I'm making it mine, because it is. I'm not just, making it up. And we see it on our page every day, and that's only what you can see. There are people that are silent on this page that message us in the background to say, "Look what's happened to me." I'm not vocal on the page, but look what's happened. Been to my doctor's not got a clue, but look what's happened. Sometimes my doctor has a clue, my doctor's really happy for me. So, metabolic syndrome is this. It's a combination of different symptoms, and of which there are 5. And there are sometimes more, but there are 5 common ones. And the World Health Organization, in terms of their direction, say you have metabolic syndrome if you've got at least 3 of 5, and the symptoms are: first one, abdominal or belly fat. So not fat legs or a fat bum or fat arms, but you've got abdominal obesity. So that's not the fat that is covering over your rippling six-pack. It's the fat that's underneath the six-pack. You've definitely got a six-pack, by the way, as have I. But sometimes it's more covered than others, or at different parts of the year, different times of the year, or just sometimes. There's a definite six-pack there, I promise you. But it's the fat that's underneath, that abdominal obesity. So that's one of the symptoms, if you like, of metabolic syndrome. Second one is high blood pressure and or hypertension, same thing, high blood pressure. Now, having spent hours upon hours in airports, particularly UK airports in the past, year, since I've been able to travel again, oh my God, I'm a people watcher, and obviously being in the job I'm in, I'm like, shit, we really do have a massive crisis on our hands here. Nobody's helping these people. Got on an EasyJet flight. Some woman had a Burger King stowed up in the top of the thing. You took it out when your flight landed, the smell. I'm like, the bairns are screaming, bonkers, mental, because they're getting fed shit. They're getting fed shit because the parents are eating shit. The parents are eating shit because they don't know any better. A lot of these people are training with personal trainers, perhaps, who are on low-calorie diets, eating all the fat, eating all the shit of the day, making them abdominally obese. Anyway, that's high blood pressure. That's just a very quick visual snapshot of what I've seen so much. It's dead sad. It's dead sad for me to see. Another symptom is low HDL. That's the so-called good cholesterol. LDL isn't bad cholesterol, by the way, but it is bad when it mixes with the wrong crowd, i.e. sugar. I've got a whole series of different videos on that. But low HDL, HDL is a carrier of cholesterol. It's actually a little protein cargo boat that goes around your body to distribute the cholesterol. High density lipoprotein is what it is. And if that's low, that's one of the symptoms. And you'll notice that metabolic syndrome doesn't mention total cholesterol, doesn't mention LDL, because they're now catching on that, you know, they are not factors associated with risk. And the risks are heart disease, stroke, cancer, Alzheimer's. This is what metabolic syndrome can lead to and provoke and cause, and does. High triglycerides, which are blood fats caused by eating the wrong foods. Get into that in a minute. And it's not fat, by the way, it's not good quality fat, it's not saturated fat. It's the trans fats and the vegetable oils, the inflammatory vegetable oils. But I'm going too far, just hang fire, Shelley Booth. Triglycerides, high triglycerides. And the last one is high blood sugar. Now that might be pre-diabetes, might be insulin resistance, pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes. So if you've got any of those, like a minimum of 3 of those, you have metabolic syndrome. And I'm telling you, there are, I'd probably say 60% of people that I see, still can't speak right properly, that are in my line of vision, are well on their way, if not now, are well on their way to having metabolic syndrome. I don't know about what your eyes see and what your eyes tell you, but that's what mine show me and tell me. And what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? You're learning about this stuff. This is an educational program. But what about the people that aren't getting this education? The people that are, maybe they're not going to gyms, maybe they're not training, maybe they're not getting the education that you're getting, maybe they're not just training trainers, but nobody's talking about this stuff. I've been over and over and over this till I'm blue in the face. Nobody's talking about this stuff to their clients. So how are they supposed to get this information? I don't know. I'm expecting you to help me pay it forward and tell these people to get their arses on to Feel Look Be. But that's hard when they think they're doing the right thing. Well, I'm training my trainer, I'm eating 1400 calories a day, I'm in a calorie deficit. So the education is all wrong. It's good to know that stuff, but it doesn't make you healthy. Will it give you metabolic syndrome? Probably. Scary. Hold on. So, what causes metabolic syndrome? 2 things. And the 2 things that cause metabolic syndrome are high levels of insulin, and high levels of inflammation. Insulin and inflammation, full stop. Exactly what Feel Look Be is undoing, unpicking. This is why you're battling with it. This is why you've got withdrawals. It's why you've got less restless legs. It's why you're moany and moody and your sleep's fucked up, and because your body's having to do a massive readjustment because some fucker's been educating you the wrong way. Somebody's got you on all of these foods that are causing your blood sugar to spike, giving you inflammation, and your insulin levels are sky high just because you want to get your calories under a certain level. Well, calories are not important. The food that you eat is important, and that is the only way that we are going to be able to impact on health. Healthcare, that's the only way that we're going to change the health of the world, is to get the education right. And right now, it's fucked up, it's all wrong. But to unpick it and unpack it and educate people, then all the big pharma and big food industries would lose trillions of pounds. So they're keeping it all hush hush. And they've got politicians on their books. They've got key people on the Diabetes Association, for example, on their books. So the whole thing is political, it's very, very corrupt. And I've said before and I'll say it again, if I disappear and go missing, then you know who it'll be. But that's not going to happen. So I just want to pause there for a minute. So metabolic syndrome, if you've got 3 of those things, then you've got it. Problem is, a lot of people don't have the diagnosis yet. You don't know. You've got a big belly, you've maybe been diagnosed as high blood pressure, but actually you've not had your numbers checked, you've not had your bloods taken recently. You don't even know that you've got metabolic syndrome. I'm suggesting you, there'll be people on here that absolutely don't know that they do, but they do. And I don't want you to, because it does lead to chronic illness, it leads to early death, and it leads to you living a really poor lifestyle because your inflammation's got you crippled with pain, the onset of dementia and mood disorders. So let me show you this video. It's Robert Lustig, it's only a few minutes long, it's just a wee snippet, and I'm going to cut back to me, okay? So here we go. Let me know if you can hear it.
Yes. Notice the love handles. Healthy person. Obese, yes. Notice the love handles.
Right, hold
but
on.
I want you to take a look in the red at this guy's liver.
Right, so he's talking about people that, so on the left, there's, how does he put it again? Is it on the left? On the left, there's an obese person, but metabolically healthy. It's not the abdominal obesity that leads to metabolic illness, it's a fat belly. Hearing fine, brilliant, thanks Leslie. And he's only got 2.6% liver fat, so actually his liver is okay, because fatty liver is, I would suggest, I've included it, I've done a metabolic syndrome video a couple of years ago, and I included metabolic syndrome as one of the symptoms of metabolic syndrome, even although the World Health Organization say it's not. I think it is. So you're thinking, who the hell are you? Well, because I've worked with people and thousands of people at that, I know that it is. And it's just a matter of time before they actually put it in as one of the symptoms. So that's healthy but obese. He's obese but he's healthy, or she is. And there's a guy or a woman in the middle, and he's suggesting that they are obese, with a 24% liver fat value. They definitely have metabolic syndrome. So obese and liver fat, metabolic syndrome in the middle. On the left, he's obese or she's obese, but liver fat is totally fine, metabolically healthy. And on the right is somebody that's slim, very slim to the eye, like my dad. Not obese, obviously, but a fatty liver and 23% fat in that liver. So you've got one end of the spectrum to the other. And this is what he's talking about. We can't see the slides he's talking about, but I'll just give you a wee rundown, okay?
It's dark. Healthy person. Obese, yes. Notice the love handles. But I want you to take a look in the red at this guy's liver. It's dark. 2.6% liver fat. This guy is a metabolically healthy, obese person. This guy is not going to cost the taxpayer a dime. This guy will live a completely normal life, probably outlive you. This guy even has normal length telomeres, the edges of the chromosomes that unravel, that determine whether or not your cells die and therefore whether you die. Nothing wrong with this guy. Now look at the guy in the middle. Now this is what you would more likely expect to see. Obesity, yes, plus take a look at that liver, ground glass appearance, 24% liver fat. This guy's got metabolic syndrome. This guy's got abnormal metabolic health. This guy gonna die. Now take a look at the guy on the right. Notice, no obesity, but take a look at his liver, 23% liver fat. This guy's just as sick as the guy in the center. Thin sick, fat healthy. So the moral of this story is it's not the fat you can see that counts. It's the fat you can't. And it turns out particularly the fat in the liver that counts. And now numerous studies have demonstrated that that's the fat we have to deal with. And the question is, where'd that fat come from? So, in order to answer that question, we have to ask the question, okay, what food got that liver fat there? And in order to answer that question, we have to ask the question, what's food? So I'm going to ask you, is ultra-processed food food? Well, what's the definition of food? Come on, you're all food industry executives. What's the definition of food? Anyone? The FDA has a definition. It's low in calories, low in sodium, low in saturated fat, high in magnesium. That's a definition of food, really? The USDA doesn't even have a definition of food, because if they did, then no one could put a health claim on any package and the whole thing would fall down. All right, so you tell me, what's the definition of food? Go to Webster's. Here it is. Substrate that contributes to the growth or burning of an organism. That is food. Substrate that contributes to growth or burning of an organism. Okay, I'll buy that. But what if some substrate actually inhibits burning? Turns out there's one that we consume every day. And we consume a lot of it. And it was put in the food by the food industry on purpose to make you buy more. And this substrate is called sugar. Fructose in particular, the sweet molecule in sugar, the addictive molecule in sugar. And this slide is just to show you that.
Okay, so you're going to the gym and before me, I'm trying to out-train the most horrendous diet, way of eating, lifestyle. It's fucking shocking. It really is. That's if you're even getting a meal plan from your PT. I've seen them. I've got a lot of friends that are in this industry. A couple of good friends that are PTs. I've got a couple of good friends that are bodybuilders. Trust me, the diet that they eat is worse than shocking. There's actually a local girl that's on Bonnie Girl, great figure, trains clients, bodybuilder. You should see the shit the lassie eats. So our clients think it's okay to eat. And I think, right, okay, obviously the education is missing there because actually this is what we're faced with, a global epidemic. Who's bothered about that? Nobody, because you're giving me £35 a session for me to pass you some dumbbells and smile at you. There's a massive problem. And if that was you, here's what I would suggest to you. I'd sit you down in front of me and say, listen, stop going to the gym, cancel your gym membership, cancel your PT sessions, and concentrate on educating yourself about nutrition. Because unless that changes, nothing is going to change. Zero. Nothing. You're going to run yourself into a lifestyle crisis, a health crisis, and it's going to happen sooner than you think. You'll say to me, okay, Shelley, what do I do then? Here's how I want you to eat, and here's why. It could not be any easier than that. It couldn't be any simpler than that. You follow my meal plan because it's nutritionally dense. It is packed, literally packed, with all the good stuff. None of the shit, none of the bad stuff, which is why you lose so much water, because all that garbage and all that processed food, because it's not food, he's just told you it's not food, because it doesn't contribute to growth, because it's packed with sugar and fructose, high fructose corn syrup, emulsifiers and binders and bulking agents and GMO and all of the stuff that you are not eating anymore, or you shouldn't be. And if you're not eating that stuff, this program, this formula works like fucking magic. It really does. There's no getting away from it. It works for every single person. Breathe. So if I can't get to all the people that need me, I'm asking you to get me to people that need me. There are people that need me in your life. I don't know them, you know them. Get them to feel like me, please, will you? I've given away free places before. You can't even give it away sometimes because you've not got the chat. You have to listen to this stuff to get the chat. You have to experience this stuff before you can actually chat about it, or you're just talking shite, really. What are you giving it? Nothing's changed with you. So how is people supposed to buy into what you're doing? Because they can't then, because you're not walking the walk. You're talking the talk, maybe, but you're not walking the walk. When you do both, you change, your physique changes, your how you think, your outlook, the abundance in your life changes, your family appreciate, everything starts to change, and then people start to buy into it. They do. Okay. Are we fine? That's 25 minutes. Oh, that's good. I don't know who you are, but I'm going to read out your little post there because that's a cracker. I was so confused, Refood, before I found you. What I was being told to eat just didn't sit well with me. I have never felt so healthy since starting Feel It Be. That's great to hear. Don't know who you are because it just says Facebook user because you've not added Ecam. So if you didn't watch that Dr. Robert Lustig video that I shared last Friday, you must go and do it. That is it. It's just a little snippet that I've showed you. But his book is Metabolical because it's fucking diabolical what's happening in the world and nobody is talking about it apart from me and him. Insulin and inflammation. What are you saying? What are you actually saying? So see your rice cakes and all the starches and the sugar starches and the alcohols and the crisp breads and the Weight Watchers garbage and the low calorie bars. It's all a load of bollocks and it's making you ill even though you don't know it. You might lose 2 stone, might lose 3 stone, but you'll gain 3.5 stone back because you're not fixing the problem. And like him, he's just said, you could be slim, but you might have fatty liver. My dad was exactly that person. And I don't mind sharing that with you. My dad was skinny fat. He was skinny to look at, slim, but inside, internally, very, very fat. And in the end, the atherosclerosis, the narrowing of his arteries, killed him because of the plaque buildup. The plaque buildup caused by alcohol, inflammatory food, and smoking. Sad. I sound nonchalant. I'm not at all nonchalant about any of that. That's plagued me for years and took me a long, long time to get over. But I'm working with you. I'm trying to help you educate your people on this stuff.